Hello, everyone. No glamour. Just gonna get straight to the point. How's everyone doing? Um, no glamour, no extra stuff. I just want to get straight to the point today. Straight to the point. These elections in New York City are the worst elections I've seen in New York City as far as negativity, right? The negative ads running are nonstop. They're pumping so much money into every single race that we have never seen ever, right? Even in the race where I live, which is the race between Jessica Gonzalez Rojas and Jessica Ramos, so much money has been pumped into the race that all of a sudden a $700,000 donor decided to pump additional $700,000 into this race. We've never seen the amount of money being spent in Washington Heights. They're spending countless amounts of money that I've never seen before, right? This is, and even Zohran Mandani has rolled up his sleeves and is basically campaigning, going door to door, or not door to door, but actually giving speeches. This is a line of people that signed up to knock doors for Claire Val. This is a congressional seat in Brooklyn, Queens, certain parts. And it's being run by, it's basically an election that normally does not even see that many voters. But people are animated, people are ready to go, people want change in New York City. People are ready for change. They don't want any more excuses. They want to see change in New York City. They want to assist Zohran Mandani in changing the way the government sees people. And these are tough times, right? These are very tough times when we have wars, so many wars going on, continuous wars. So this is if you want a selfie with Claire Valdez and Zohran Mandani, right? So people had to make a huge, and Zohran has a 70% approval rating, despite people hating and saying that he's not a good mayor. He's actually trying to change the trajectory of New York City politically, right? He's trying to change the whole trajectory of how New York City's run. Behind you. Yeah. Behind you. And that's the line just to be able to speak to the mayor, Zohran Mandani, in New York City. These elections are getting crazy. And the negative ads, I've never seen so many negative ads in a single election. Never seen it so bad. Not in New York City. Usually, off-year elections, non-presidential elections, people just ignore them. They're not important. People just ignore them. They look the other way. And now, this is how many people were there door knocking for Claire Valdez, right? All these people came out to go to the neighborhood, knock on people's doors, phone bank. There's another group of people that are phone banking, making phone calls to change the trajectory of New York City politics. And we've been told continuously over and over that politics don't matter, that nobody cares about politics. And the story has been, I don't want to feed into the negativity, but the story has been the negative ads. A lot of the ads are baseless, not based on facts. It's pushing the boundary. Right? And so it's getting interesting, right? And this is Adriano Espaillat, his people running against Dareliza Chevalier. These are the people supporting him. Some of the unions that are supporting him. And I wonder if it's a photo op or are they actually gonna go knock on people's doors? Because Espaillat, I heard, does not work on weekends. This is probably the first time he's worked on weekends in the last 20 years, right?
Listen, in any campaign, I don't care if it's an issue campaign or if it's a political campaign. Get on the ground. Absolutely. Get with the people. Yes. Knock on some doors till your knuckles bleed.
So the the negative ads are bizarre. The lies that are going on are astronomical. They're not no holds bar, right? Let me start with Daria Lisa. Daria Lisa has been getting attacked. And so let's see one ad. If you like ads, just by y'all's time is up. We know you support all the worst in the neighborhood. Vote for Okay, so let's share this one, right? Let me share this. So this is the amount of money they're spending on this campaign. We're up, believe it or not. We're up to 6,932,566 in anti-Realisa Avila Chevrolet or Pro Adriano Espaillat spending, including $650,000 from APAC, compared to 2,448,707 in anti-Espaillat or Pro Avila Chevrolet spending, including 1,344,250 for American priorities. So APAC may not be spending against Claire Valdez, but we now have ironclad proof that APAC is spending against Tia Relisa. United Democracy Project, which is APAC Super PAC, put $650,000 into Bold America. Super PAC bankrolling anti-Relisa ads. Right? So okay, let's play a Pro Relisa ad.
Donde todo se compartirá.
She's targeting the Spanish, a lot of Spanish people live in that area. Let's watch the ad.
Crecí en una familia dominicana.
Creció en una familia dominicana.
La alegría, los sacrificios, todo. Mis padres llegaron con su historia a cuestas y aquí levantaron un hogar. Crecí entre dos mundos, un poquito de aquí y un poquito de allá. Entre la tierra que dejaron y el futuro que vinieron a sembrar. Aprendí desde muy joven que, como mi familia, muchas familias trabajadoras lo dan todo cada día y aún así nunca alcanza. La salud convertida en lujo, un techo cada vez más fuera del alcance, y un gobierno federal que separa familias mientras desatiende a nuestras comunidades y financia guerras. En mi familia, luchar contra la injusticia viene de lejos. Mi abuelo enfrentó una dictadura y ese legado vive en mí. Por eso hoy doy la cara aquí, por nuestra gente. Por eso di un paso al frente, acompañando a nuestras familias, defendiendo la dignidad de nuestra gente. Y ahora estoy lista para llevar esa lucha al Congreso. Por mi familia, por cada hogar de este distrito, por vivienda digna, por nuestros niños, por quienes madrugan y sostienen Nueva York. No por guerras sin fin. Pero ningún cambio se construye sola. Esta fuerza la ponen ustedes.
That's one of her ads that's playing on mainstream media. But the amount of money that they're spending for a congressional seat, right? $20 million for a congressional seat, right? Right? So let's read this Espaillat Avila Chevalier spar over city and state. Let's watch it. Espaillat Avila Chevalier spar over gentrification in Harlem Church. The Reverend Al Sharpton invited the rival congressional candidates to make their cases at the National Action Network on the last weekend before the primary. At a National Action Network rally led by the Reverend Al Sharpton on Saturday, both congressional candidates, Daria Liza Avila Chevalier and Representative Adriano Espaillat, the five-term incumbent she's trying to unseat, emphasized the need for Black and Dominican American communities to unite against a common enemy. But the two candidates had very different ideas of who that enemy was. For Avila Chevalier, a Democratic Socialist, the enemy was those who weaponize identity to divide marginalized groups and prevent them from realizing their common material interests. For Espaillat, the enemy was the gentrifiers who make up Avila Chevalier's base. Avila Chevalier evoked her own Afro-Dominican identity to make the case that Latino communities in neighborhoods like Washington Heights and Black communities in neighborhoods in Harlem were not rivals. They have told us that we have to choose, that dignity from one community must come at the expense of another, that this community, where so many of us carry many identities that you could stack them like dominoes, has to pick a side. I am both Black and Dominican. I will not apologize for it, she said, to applause from the congregation of Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem. Avila Chevalier also defended her identity as a transplant who moved to New York City from Florida to attend college in Columbia. I didn't have to be born here to belong this way because this community chose me and I'm choosing it now, she said. I don't want a power over you. I never have. I want power with you. Power that lifts every family in Harlem, Washington Heights, and Kingsbridge. Power that keeps ICE out of our churches. Power that makes rent something you can actually afford. In his own remarks, Espaillat suggested that Avila Chevalier was the cause, not the solution, of rising rents. We need to be careful of fair weather friends that come around and say that the rent is too high, but they're the ones that are driving up the rent, he said. They are the gentrifiers. Much of Espaillat's speech was focused on the past. He repeatedly lavished praise on Sharpton's record of civil rights work and the idea that hard-earned political alliances must endure. We have a historic coalition, a Black, Brown, and Labor coalition that was first put together by David Dinkins, he said. That is the Al Sharpton coalition. That is the coalition of Harlem and the Washington Heights and the Bronx. And we're going to work together to ensure that coalition stays strong and that coalition becomes and will continue to be the coalition of the future of this city. Espaillat offered his own vision of politics and transcends race. He sat alongside Assembly member Jordan Wright, son of his longtime rival Keith Wright, and even gave him a shout out during his speech. We will work together and I'm happy to have support from Assemblyman Jordan Wright. You know, for far too long, we should have been working closer together, he said, seemingly burying the hatchet between his own Dominican American squadrino and the Black Harlem machine led by the Wrights. But Espaillat's vision of cross-racial solidarity is narrower than Avila Chevalier's, open to the longtime residents but not newcomers. It must be in the deep roots of our neighborhood that the strength and the change must come, he said. It cannot be parachuted in the middle of the night by fair weather friends. Like Espaillat, Jordan Wright tailored his message to people who have been in the neighborhood for decades. There's people in this room, I'm certain, that have voted for my grandfather, my father, my uncle, and now myself. Wright said, I don't view that as a bad thing. I view it as we know our community and we're just here to keep doing the work. Listening to their speeches, it was easy to see why both Espaillat and Wright endorsed former Governor Andrew Cuomo over Zohran Mandani in the last year's mayoral primary election. Cuomo was a known quantity among older voters in the community, while Mandani was the candidate of the newcomers. Unfortunately for Espaillat, Mandani won the district, beating Cuomo by 13 points in the first round of voting. Now the mayor of New York City, Mandani was a guest of honor at Mother AME Zion Church on Saturday and encouraged the audience to support Avila Chevalier in the June 23 Democratic primary the way they once supported him. Today I ask you to remember the chance that you took on me, to remember the faith you once showed, to remember that before a movement becomes obvious, it is often called unrealistic. Before a leader becomes established, they're called inexperienced. Before change becomes popular, it's called impossible, he said, before turning the microphone over to Avila Chevalier. Mandani didn't stay at Mother AME Zion for long. He quietly left after Avila Chevalier finished her speech and didn't stick around to hear Espaillat's remarks. Before heading up to Harlem, Mandani voted at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, his new early voting location now that he's living in Gracie Mansion. As the Upper East Sider, the mayor will have only 2 races on his ballot: the race for the controller and the congressional primary to succeed retiree Representative Jerry Nadler. He hasn't endorsed in either race, and he declines to say who he voted for. I'm going to be keeping my vote in this race between myself, the ballot, and the incredible pen that the Board of Elections gives to every voter, he said. But he did take the opportunity to talk with the congressional candidates he's endorsed in other districts around the city, including Avila Chevalier. I do wish that every New Yorker had the chance to vote for Daria Avila Chevalier, for Claire Valdez, for Brand Lander, he said. 3 congressional candidates that I'm so excited to have endorsed, who would be incredible partners in the fight to make the country's most expensive city into one that's affordable. And Jeff Cotlin contributed reporting. And Peter Stern, which, we had some disagreements as to the state of the race, right? It is a tough race, right? It's a tough race to win. And it's definitely a tough race to win. Right? It's a tough race to win. Right? It's not an easy race. Everyone should go out and vote, change the trajectory of the Democratic Party, right? So these races are getting interesting, right? These races are getting very interesting. Thank you for the like. Thank you for the like. Let me see. Let's see. These races are going to get very interesting, everyone. That's just reality. Let's just accept it, but let's show support for all the people that are running. Thank you for the like, Christine Cover. If you're in the Bronx, vote for her for district leader. Right? Definitely vote for Christine Cover for district leader. Right? Okay. I was going to talk a little bit about the negative ads, right? The negative ads have gotten out of control. Right? Let me talk about one race, the Chevalier race. And then, I don't know if you know, I'm Dominican also. So even Zohran, even Hassan Piker is worried about this race, right? He said today that he's worried about the race of right. He's definitely worried about this race. Zohran is worried about this race. That's why, right? So, and for the most part, that release has kept it positive, right? And you don't understand New York City politics. These party machines are very powerful, right?
No, it's not our neighbor's fault when they fall in hard times. It's the failure of our system. That's why I've been here, working to reunite families torn apart by our country's cruel immigration system. Organizing against what we all know is a genocide in Palestine. This is how change begins. It doesn't roll in on the wheels of inevitability. We have to make it happen. Because overcoming the politics of the past takes action from all of us. Since I was a teenager, I've been organizing right here, on these blocks, in these streets. My work has shown me that we're at our most powerful when we act together in solidarity. As an educator, a union member, an Afro-Latina New Yorker, I know we deserve better than the status quo. As New Yorkers, we know it's not our neighbor's fault when they fall in hard times. It's the failure of our system. That's why I've been here, working to reunite families torn apart by our country's cruel immigration system. Organizing against what we all know is a genocide in Palestine. And as the daughter of immigrants, it's personal to me when ICE kidnaps my friends off our streets. All of these injustices are symptoms of our broken system. So where is our congressman when ICE is kidnapping his constituents? Why should we let Adriano Espaillat vote to spend billions on bombs overseas when we're struggling to afford rent and groceries right here in New York City? We live in the richest country in the history of the world. It's never been that our government lacks the resources to help us. It's just that the establishment lacks the courage. The politics of the past are failing us. It's time for us to take matters into our own hands. I'm Elisa Avila Chevalier, and I'm running for Congress. You deserve a member of Congress who isn't cashing checks from APAC, real estate developers, or corporations. You deserve a member of Congress who prioritizes the people, not their political career. The era of machine politics ends now. Our campaign is backed by Justice Democrats and powered by people just like you. For too long, we've been told that change will come tomorrow. To echo our ancestors who once stood right here, we're now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. So join us today, because on our campaign, we're not waiting for tomorrow any longer.
Right, I love that ad. Definitely important. Keeping it positive is a good thing, right? Whenever you keep it positive, it makes it better for everyone, because we want to know what you can do for us. How can you improve our neighborhood? How can you improve those things that affect us? How can you allow us to have better jobs, a better future for not only ourselves, for our children, and for the people that have grandchildren? We don't want to leave this world totally worse than the way we got it, right? We don't want our kids to struggle as hard as we've struggled. The last thing we want is to struggle as hard as they've struggled, right? And that's for most people, we don't need that, right? We don't expect that. We don't want the negativity to be the what runs the system, right? We need that negativity, right? But let's watch a little bit of the debate.
Not even a month or two later, the day after she was spotted, seen there, celebrating the death of innocent people. The difference between me and her is that I believe in a two-state solution. She doesn't believe in the existence of Israel.
So I am just shocked by the dehumanizing language that was just used. I would never celebrate the death of any human being.
Not even a month or two later, the day after she was spotted, seen there, celebrating the death of innocent people.
And it doesn't make sense. This attack, this negativity, it's just, to me, it's ridiculous, right? Right? To me, it's ridiculous the way they're going so low. And I've never seen Adriano Espaillat taking his gloves off like that. You know what I mean? So this is the Fox News covering Daria Lisa Chevalier. This is all they could talk about is her deleted
2018 and 2022 on
posts.
social media, including that she wants to abolish borders, abolish prisons, and police is abolishing all those things is, quote, possible, necessary, and the only moral way forward. She has also said that all deportation is wrong and, quote, yes, literally abolish the border. She's also made some anti-American comments saying, quote, this country is a effing disgrace. In another post, she also added, quote, I forgot to get napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag behind me in yet another post. Now, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders were both campaigning for Chevalier in New York on Thursday.
And that, my friends, is why we need to elect Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier. Dari is exactly who the people of the Bronx and Upper Manhattan deserve representing them in Congress.
The next 4 days, everybody here and everybody in the city has got to work hard to make sure that Brad and Claire and Daralisa become the next congresspeople for New York City.
Now listen to this. Chevalier sat down with the New York editorial board where she repeatedly dodged questions on how she thinks murderers should be handled as a self-proclaimed prison abolitionist. The questioner said, quote, I went to a sentencing last week. A man killed another man, didn't know the person, just sitting on a stoop, got an 18-year prison sentence. Should that person not go to prison, and what should happen instead? She replies, quote, so, you know, for prison abolitionists, I think a lot of folks misunderstand what that vision of the world actually is. And it is one that actually centers this question of harm. At the heart of what we're asking is, why is that there? Why is there that there's so much harm in our society? She ended up dodging that question multiple times. And back out here live, she's also running on completely abolishing ICE. She's previously called Joe Biden a rapist. She's previously said, quote, F Kamala Harris. back during the COVID-19 pandemic, she urged the government to provide about $3,000 a month to everybody in basic universal income. She said pharmaceutical companies and private medical insurance should be dissolved. She also suggested that Medicare should be expanded to every single citizen and private property be seized from landlords. So that right there is what gets you an endorsement from Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani these days, guys. We'll send it back to you.
Incredible.
Unbelievable. All right, Bill Milligan. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Bill.
Bill.
You know, it's really, really amazing when you look at where all of these things are,
The thing is that most people don't believe in the way things are set up. They know that the system is stacked up against individuals, against families, against working class people. So they're taking little pieces, little snippets of her interview, little pieces of it, and miscategorizing it and misquoting her to make it seem like she's the most extremist person, when most Americans would agree that the system that we have is not fair, where everything is stacked against the normal person. So them arguing with these extremes just makes Dareliza appear more insane than even the right-wing news media, which is having a meltdown. Why are they covering her so much? Why are they spending so much money in this race? The reason why is because they don't want people to vote. They want to keep people down. They want to keep people ignorant as to what's going on politically so they can keep themselves in power. This is Fox News that has studios in New York, that's owned by a billionaire, and these people get paid a lot of money so they enjoy the fruits of the system. Of course, they want to keep the system exactly the way it is, while there's other people that are sleeping on park benches, not living comfortable lives, living very hard lives, eating out of garbage cans, or trading in bottles to get the recycling money, just so they can have a few dollars to be able to eat. They don't see the poverty or the extreme wealth that has categorized our society. So I think most people will probably agree with Zohran Mamdani, with Darelisa, with Bernie Sanders, with so many other AOC, which is a Democratic Socialist of America candidate, right? So I think most people would agree with them. So I don't understand why they feel that most Americans agree with them and not with a person like Darelisa, right? Darelisa for New York wants change, and Adriano Espaillat is favored by the right wing Fox News any day, right? Favored by the right wing Fox News any day. So we do support Darylisa. And this is a part of the tax. So this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. So this race is bizarre. Let's move on to Claire Valdez's race. Right? Oh no, actually, let's do David Orkin, right? And just for full disclosure, I am a Democratic Socialist of America member, and it's a great organization to be a part of. This is just my personal opinion, right? And so, let's see. This is David Orkin versus Raj Kumar, right? Raj Kumar is not very active in the neighborhood. She just does whatever she wants. Let's watch David Orkin's ad.
Language, and then they disappear. Don't show up only when you need to vote. Show up right now. Our
politicians for decades have been using our communities as a stereotypical group of people.
Around our cultural events, around election time, politicians show up, wear our cultural clothes, eat our food, and say one or two words in our language, and then they disappear. Don't show up only when you need to vote. Show up right now. Our communities are under attack.
What are some of the issues facing people who live here?
In Richmond Hill and Ozone Park, we are so neglected.
Yeah.
Holes and garbage, and there's no basic things.
I mean, I have 5 businesses here. I have to sell them out. And this one here is for sale because the system is bad.
One of the main community concerns we have is immigration enforcement, which is obviously ramped up a lot.
People are being kidnapped left and right. And who do we call? For example, not far from here, when Rosario was murdered, yes. Jennifer Rajkumar is the current assembly member for this district, and not once did she reach out to the family.
I've been here a while and I've never seen her. She doesn't want to be with us or associate with us. Rather, she wants to associate with rich millionaires, Eric Adams, and the political donors.
Immigrants certainly not a concern, even though she says she's one of us. she's really for the corporations and she's for Israel, as we know.
She's supporting Israel. Who's gonna support us? Because what we watch on social media and the news does affect us in our household, in our families. It becomes a discussion in our dinner tables.
ও যে এতদিন অ্যাসেম্বলি মেম্বার ও একটা মসজিদে যায় না, ইভেন তো আমাদের মসজিদ, আমাদের এই মুসলিম কমিউনিটি, বাঙালি কমিউনিটিটা কত বড় এই নেইবারহুড, এটা শুধু মুসলিমদের জন্য, এটা সব শ্রমিক মানুষদের জন্য, যে ও আমাদের জন্য আমাদের সাথে নেই।
Show up, stand with us, be with us. We don't need a friend. We need someone who's going to speak for us, who's going to stand with us, and who's going to provide the resources that we need.
যখন আপনি জুম্মায় আসছেন, তখন আমি মানুষদের দেখি, ওরা একদম প্রথমবার ওরা দেখছে যে একটা ক্যান্ডিডেট ওদের কাছে আসছে। এটা কিন্তু আগে কোনো বাড়ি হয় নাই।
তারপরেও আমরা ওনার সাথে ছবি তুলি। আমাদের ছবি তুলে কি লাভ হবে? আমাদের দরকার আমাদের রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ যিনি আমাদের ইস্যুতে আমাদের হয়ে কাজ করবেন, আমাদের এজেন্ডাতে আমাদের মতো করে কাজ করবেন। আমি মনে করি ডেভিড অরকিন is representing us in our issues with our feelings, and I think he would be a very good representation for our community.
David Orkin, if you're in that district, vote for David Orkin. And let me show you something that's probably going to get some people in the community very upset. Raj Kumar was up and down the street with hanging out with none other than Eric Adams, right? She was very in tune with Eric Adams. Her and Eric Adams were friends, and a lot of people say that they were more than friends. I'm just saying, that's what they were claiming, that they were just more than friends, right? This is a picture I want to show you of Jennifer Rajkumar joining the Israel Day Parade, where so many Israel ministers that were accused of all types of war crimes were marching in, and this is what she did, right? So instead of standing hand in hand with Palestine and with Palestinian Americans, she decided to stand with the Israeli government, right? She decided to go against all the Palestinians that live in her community, all the people affected by, in Lebanon. She has a large Lebanese and a large group of Iranian and all different types of Middle Eastern people living in her area, and she chose to not support it, right? To go against them and support by going to the Israel parade. So that's my question. Right? It's not just a question, it's bizarre. Right? It's bizarre. I support a lot of people. So it's bizarre to me, all the things that are happening in all these races. And that's why I support the Democratic Socialists of America slate, right? The Democratic Socialists of America slate, everyone has taken a pledge. They don't support, they support Palestine. They don't support, they're anti-war. We have certain stances that our candidates stand for, right? and that people, right? So these are the candidates, right? Right. These are the candidates supported by Democratic Socialists of America. We have Claire Valdez, Darilisa Avila Chevalier. Assembly member Claire Valdez is a union organizer, artist, and proud Democratic Socialist, a dual citizen of Isleta del Sur Pueblo Nation in the United States. She worked low-wage customer service jobs through high school, college, and after. And as a worker at Columbia University, she joined UAW Local 2110, was elected to the bargaining committee, and organized to democratize her union. A longtime leader in New York City DSA, Claire serves in the New York State Assembly, where she has fought to tax the rich, protect tenants, and empower working people. Claire is running for Congressional District 7 because workers and tenants need a champion in Congress who will fight for unions, for housing and Medicare for all, and to end the U.S. complicity in genocide and apartheid. Darilisa Avila Chivale. Darilisa Avila Chivale is a working-class Afro-Latina organizer, UAW member, and the daughter of Dominican immigrants who have spent years fighting for her community in Upper Manhattan. Seeing her family navigate immigration issues, economic hardship, and structural racism shaped her commitment to justice. She serves as an investigator at Neighborhood Defender Services of Harlem, supporting New Yorkers targeted by the legal system. Daria Liza running for Congressional District 13 to fight for babies, not bombs, housing for all, and to abolish ICE. And the candidates for New York State Legislator, following our historic campaign to elect Zohran Mamdani, Mayor of New York DSA is running 7 new candidates for New York State Assembly and 1 new candidate for New York State Senate in the largest slate of socialists for a state legislator in history. Albia Kawas is a Palestinian community organizer and Democratic Socialist born and raised in New York City who is running to represent Queens in Senate District 12. Abir is running to fight for affordability for all New Yorkers, protect immigrant families, and stand up to ICE and fund public transit to make buses fast, safe, and free. And she'll be the first Palestinian American to ever be voted into into the state senate. She's a very compassionate person, very nice person, but also very tough when it comes to she doesn't take any dark money. Just like no DSA candidates takes dark money. We all they only take small donations, right? Christian Celeste is a community organizer and Democratic Socialist running to represent parts of Bushwick and East New York, including Cypress Hills and City Line. In State Assembly District 54, Christian is running to keep people in their homes, defend our neighbors from ICE, and invest in public safety through community investments. You could donate to all these campaigns. Conrad Blackburn. Conrad Blackburn is a Harlemite, public defender, union member, and Democratic Socialist running for New York State Assembly District 70 to put people of Harlem first. Grounded in Harlem's long tradition of Black radical politics, he believes socialism is simply community in action. Conrad is running to fight for a dignified life in Harlem, protect Harlem from displacement, and keep Harlem safe. If you don't know, David Dinkins was a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. So was Major Owens, one of the fighters for Harlem. He was a Democratic Socialist member, believe it or not. It's a very unknown fact. And so when people defend this area, they got to look up history. David Orkin is a workers' rights attorney who has been organizing the immigrants' rights movement for over a decade. He dedicated his life to fighting for immigrants and workers, and is running in Assembly District 38 in Queens to take that fight to Albany by taxing the rich to fund universal childcare, healthcare, fast and free buses, doing everything we can on the state level to protect our communities from ICE and raising labor standards for all workers. And we have Diana Moreno. Diana Moreno came to this country when she was 11 years old and has been a labor organizer, immigrant workers advocate for over a decade. In this moment, a political crisis and awakening, Diana is running to represent Assembly District 36 to replace Major Electoral Mandani as he heads to Gracie Mansion, continuing to fight for an affordable New York and combat the rising tide of fascism. That's Diana Moreno. Ian Huntley. Ian Huntley is a working dad, former PTA president, renter, and community organizer running to represent Assembly District 56, Breakfast-Stuyvesant, and Northern Crown Heights. Ian is running to stop big real estate from tearing his neighborhood apart, ensure an excellent education for every kid in Brooklyn, from cradle to college, and fight for the affordability agenda New Yorkers deserve in Albany. Ilapa Sari Tupac. Ilapa Sari Tupac is an excellent organizer and proud democratic socialist, and the summer immigrants running to represent the Lower East Side and Chinatown in Assembly District 65. Ilapa is running to bring socialism back to Lower Manhattan and fight to tax the rich to fund universal childcare, healthcare, and social housing, get ICE out of our streets, out of our state, and empower tenants through TOPA, the Tenant Opportunity Purchase Act. And Samantha Katan. Samantha Katan is a community organizer and democratic socialist running for New York State Assembly District 37. Samantha is running to fight for affordability for all New Yorkers, protect immigrant families, and stand up to ICE and build public safety through community investment. So this is the slate for New York City Democratic Socialists. And don't forget about AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is also running for re-election. And then we also have Zohran Mandani is not running. But these are the people that are leading the charge to change the trajectory of the world and change the trajectory of New York City politics for the better, believe it or not, for the better. A lot of people know how bad the Democratic establishment is and how entrenched it is in New York City. They don't give opportunities to people. They say, wait in line, wait in line. You could be waiting in line for years. And they try to hand select their who is going to be the one replacing the candidate, right? So this is what I need you to do. I need you to door knock, canvas, phone bank for the DSA slate, and also in your local race. If there's no, pick the person that's a better candidate. Unfortunately, we got to do harm reduction, right? Like Hassan Piker says, harm reduction, right? We got to do harm reduction to try to get the people that are going to cause the least harm to our communities, to our families, to our friends, and are going to push back against the fascist takeover of America, the rollback of civil rights, the rollback of voting rights, the rollback of rights in general, the rollbacks of First Amendment rights. We need change, and we need change as fast as possible. I'm not going to go over every single race in depth, but the competition and the negative ads are flooding the market. I'm talking about they're spending, like right here in my neighborhood, they're spending close to $4 million on the local state assembly race, which normally they will spend $400,000 maybe $500,000, which still is an astronomical amount of money to spend on a political race, right? Is a crazy amount of money to spend on a political race, right? It's a lot. Who's gonna, it's like, but let me tell you a little secret. They wouldn't be spending so much money if they're not getting a lot more money in return, right? Because rich people don't like to spend money. They only like to spend money if they're gonna get something back in return, right? If they're gonna get 10 times more than what they are gonna get back, right? Right? They don't spend money unless they're gonna get some money back. That's just a reality. That's the way rich people think. Well, if they give you money or they put money into you, what are they gonna get in return? They're not just gonna give money away for no reason, right? Right? They're not just gonna give money away just for the fun of it, right? So everyone, you can subscribe to my channel, right? Subscribe to the channel, right? Subscribe to the channel. Let's see. Let's listen to this. Hassan Piker talks about that Relisa and the hurdles that she's facing. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about they're spending tons of money on this race. And that's what the attack SARS are.
Necessarily have reactionary opinions, but if that's what they're being.
Yeah, so I mean, but I think people have seen how. Yeah, so I don't necessarily agree. Um, but this was a MAGA move, right? The MAGA move made this move, right? They decided to go so negative against Obama. They went negative against, um, and they didn't work, right? It backfired when, remember when they started the birther movement, that Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States, that he was born in Nigeria, and he wasn't even a U.S. citizen. How was he allowed to run for president? They started these things, and this is a Trump move, right? So for Democrats to be running in a Democratic primary and be using the same exact MAGA um, moves and MAGA opinions is kind of nuts, right? That just shows you that the Democratic establishment is so weak and is willing to do these type of things and play these moves, these negative moves against candidates, right? Like Daria Lisa, like um, against Claire Valdez. They're willing to play these moves and play the people because it just shows me that some of these Democrats that have not been standing up to Donald Trump, that has been allowing for other Democrats to get bullied, just shows me that they're exactly the same as the right wingers, right? Be pounding on the left, pounding on people like Hassan Piker, pounding on people like Daria Lisa, pounding on people like Claire Valdez. It shows me that they cut from the same cloth. They would do anything to stay in power. They would do anything to make sure that they stay in power, even at the cost of hurting the working people or hurting their own constituents, right? They're willing to just bash and go negative at all costs. They don't care who they harm. And that's what gave us Donald Trump. That's what gave us the MAGA movement and no resistance against ICE or against anyone trampling on people's constitutional rights or people's ability to vote. They don't care. I mean, I'm cheering on Darelisa still. Yeah. So what do you think, everyone? You think so? You think that Darelisa is in danger? That she might not cut the cloth? That she, unless everyone goes out and votes, everyone comes out and supports her. That's the only way she could be there, right? All right. So I have to push back a little bit on Hassan because Zoran Mandani was outspent 6-1. He was outspent 6-1 by Cuomo and the super PACs, and 6-1. So can she overcome the 6-1? Um, 6-1, right? So she's been around. Zoran has been helping her, also using his connections to get her on platforms. Like, for example, today being in Al Sharpton's debate was actually something that was people that were hesitant of Zoran, right? They were hesitant on Zoran, and now they have embraced him because now they realize, because at a certain point they realize that Zoran would be better than Eric Adams, even though Eric Adams is black and they're black, but he wasn't good for the people, right? He wasn't good for BIPOC people or people of color. All the races going to be tough races. Yeah. See. Closet people. Let's pause. Sign. It's Claire Valdez. She's getting a lot of support. All right, she's getting a lot of support. So let me just check something out. Let's hear what Zohran had to say at the National Action Network event.
On the corner that he pulled up to when he first came to Chicago. Married a girl not from the suburbs, married a young lady from the South Side. And they both stood there with 3 presidents honoring them. Nobody could have told you that Michelle and Barack Obama would become Michelle Obama and Barack Obama until they did. Nobody could have told you that Zohran would be mayor until he did. Nobody could have told you that the Knicks was going to win until they did. If you don't give up, if you don't give out, your change will come. Your change will come. Will come. Your change is gonna come. I know it will. Your change hang on in there. Will come. Your change is gonna come. Change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Oh, your change.
It's in the National Action Network.
National Action Network Change Choir, give them a big hand.
I was actually there when Zohran first went to the National Action Network.
Certainly, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here at Mother AME Zion Church
when Zohran
in the
was
heart of
speaking.
Harlem, or you that are watching
Not this
us
time around, but the last
on
time around.
Impact Television all over the world, on our YouTube/NAN, and you that are listening in New York on WBLS 107.5 FM, the only black FM station in New York, as well as others that are online. We're happy to be with you another Saturday morning to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Sister Nancy Crawford. Our musical director, Brother Tyrone Richardson. Long after I'm going to march down Fifth Avenue. And
faith that poverty could be lifted.
Self-interest. And who can deliver and who cannot. And who can talk is one thing, but who can walk the walk is another thing. So I want you all to hear some of the candidates. I'm gonna give them 2 minutes each. But before that, I want to bring to you our mayor. And I say that because he's been that. Every time that we reached out to him, he'd respond. And there are gonna be times we all may disagree. It hasn't happened yet, but we won't be disagreeable because he's convinced us his heart is right. And it's been a while since we had mayors that I could say their heart was right. Their politics might have been right, but their heart wasn't right. And I can deal with people that feel what I feel, even if their analysis is different. And so I want to bring to you to give some remarks, and he can say what he want to say. He's not running, so he's not limited to 2 minutes. The mayor of the city of New York and a member, I'm gonna make him a member of National Action Network, Mayor Zohran Campaigns.
Ready for the fireworks?
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, I was there. Not today, though.
Thank you, Rev.
This was this
Thank
morning.
you, Nan. It is an honor to be with you this morning. And I am reminded as I stand here of another summer day just a little over a year ago when I first addressed this congregation at the House of Justice. I wasn't
there.
the person with the biggest donors.
Last year I was there.
I wasn't the person with the most endorsements. I wasn't the person chosen by the political insiders. To many, I was a guy who was just too young, with a name that was just a little too hard to pronounce, calling for change that was just a little too ambitious. And yet, you took a chance on me. You listened without judgment. You believed before the polls told you to. You saw possibility where others only saw risk. And because of that, together we have built something far greater and far more powerful than any one campaign. When I think about the journey that we have traveled together over this last year and some change, I think about faith. Not just faith in God, faith in one another. Faith, Scripture tells us, is the belief in things unseen. It is the assurance in things hoped for. How better to describe the belief that you placed in me, the hope that you held for this movement? Faith in planting a seed before there was any sign of harvest. Faith in trusting that tomorrow could in fact be different than today. Faith that poverty could be lifted, that suffering could be cured, that sickness could be healed. Faith that government could succeed where for so long there had only been failure. That we could succeed in putting money back in the pockets of workers from whom it had been stolen. That we could succeed in paving potholes on streets long ignored. That we could succeed in securing a path to universal childcare so a new generation can come of age in our city. So that thousands of young parents would not be forced to move away when their families begin to grow. That we could succeed in holding bad landlords to account and building hundreds of thousands of new homes that were not just affordable enough to rent, but also affordable enough to buy. That we could succeed above all in making government something that could belong to the many, not just the wealthy few. And today, I am here not only to say thank you, not only to appreciate my newfound membership to NAN, I am also here to ask you to have that faith again, because success is not inevitable. It must be maintained, it must be grown, it must be won, because there is another name on the ballot.
Another person that many will dismiss because she is too young, because she is not of a political machine or a guardian of the status quo. Another person who some will underestimate because she hasn't climbed a political ladder. She has not practiced caution, but has practiced her principles. She has taken on fights against powerful interests. Another person that some will disdain because she hasn't paid her dues, while too many New Yorkers can't pay their bills. The truth is that every leader begins as someone unknown. Every act of courage begins with a step of uncertainty. Every success begins by feeling impossible. And every chapter of progress begins when ordinary people decide to believe in something before the powerful do. That is the story of this church. That is the story of our democracy at its best. Because democracy is not and cannot simply be about choosing names that power places in front of us. It must be about recognizing possibility where others see none. It is about understanding that greatness does not come from status. It comes from service. And yet we know that today there are too many across this nation with power that seek to use it not to serve others, but to serve themselves. I speak of those who give to super PACs with generic names but insidious purposes, stopping change from ever arriving. I speak of those who see war and suffering overseas but refuse to speak out in opposition because political inconvenience frightens them more than moral hypocrisy. And I speak of lawmakers and judges across so many states who see democracy as something not to cherish but something to be frightened of, something so powerful that it must be restricted, must be restrained, it must be withheld. We stand together in a house of worship this morning, a place where all are welcome. And yet we know that we do so as houses of democracy have become sanctuaries of exclusion. Courthouses that seek to overrule the Voting Rights Act. State houses that work deep into the night to redraw lines so that Black Americans cannot have a say. Never has it been more important who we send to Washington to fight for our rights, to fight for our democracy. And we know that as we are just a day removed from celebrating Juneteenth, a day removed from celebrating freedom, we also know that the worth of freedom comes from our ability to exercise it. For we remember the words of Dr. King decades ago, who asked us then, what good is having the right to sit at a lunch counter if you can't afford to buy a hamburger? What good is all this talk of freedom if you cannot afford to use that freedom? And so in this time of existential challenge after existential challenge, we need a leader who is not only unafraid to name the battles before us, but someone who is concerned not with who knows their name, but whose names they know. The names of tenants worried about next month's rent. The names of seniors choosing between groceries and insulin. The names of parents working 2 jobs and still struggling to make ends meet. The names of the wrongfully detained and incarcerated. The names who have been told for far too long that their struggles are invisible, their cries unheard. Those are the names that matter. And those
What do you think of the speech so far?
are the people that our leaders must serve. So today I ask you to remember the chance that you took on me, to remember the faith you once showed, to remember that before a movement becomes obvious, it is often called unrealistic. Before a leader becomes established, they are called inexperienced. Before change becomes popular, it is called impossible. Do not let anyone convince you that your role is simply to choose from that which is already familiar. Our role is to leave this world more just than we found it. And courage, my friends, is taking a chance on people who have earned your trust, even if they have not yet earned that recognition. Because courage is understanding that the future belongs to those who are willing to build it. You placed your faith in me, and I will spend every day striving to be worthy of that faith. Today, I ask you to take that same faith and extend it once more. And since there is nowhere I like to quote him than at his own rally, I will leave you with these words from the Rev. Stay on the front line. and speak truth to power until you can turn it around. I'm asking you to stay on the front lines with me. I'm asking you to keep the faith, and I'm asking you to give a warm welcome to Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier. Thank you.
Give her a hand. Give her a hand. He cheated. He quoted me. That's not cheating.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton, and thank you, Nan, and thank you so much, Mayor Mamdani, who just showed us what it looks like when power is in the right hands. Reverend, you spent a lifetime teaching us that we are stronger, locked arm in arm, than we ever are standing alone. And you said it yourself, we are only as strong as we are together. And I carry that with me in this campaign. Because right now, there are folks trying to make us forget it. There's this lie we are so often told, that there is only so much power in the city, only enough for a few to hold it. But power can turn on the lights. It can heat public housing in the dead of winter and cool our homes in the dead of summer. It can bring people together and push hate away. And here in New York City, in the city of plenty, in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country, in the wealthiest moment in the history of the earth, there is enough power for everyone. And yet they tell us that there is only so much, that to touch power, you need to know someone. You need to talk the right way, say the right things, get permission. And here in this district, they have told us something even more cruel. They have told us that we have to choose, that dignity for one community must come at the expense of another. That this community, where so many of us carry many identities that you could stack them like dominoes, has to pick a side. I am both Black and Dominican, and I will not apologize for it. Yesterday was Juneteenth, and I woke up this morning still thinking about what that day means, because Juneteenth didn't just mark the end of something. It marked a revelation that people had been free and nobody had told them. That liberation had been declared and the people it was meant for were the last to know because somebody else profited from their waiting. Think about who benefits when the people don't know their own power. 400 years ago, a free Black sailor from Santo Domingo named Juan Rodriguez became the first Dominican in New York City. Black and Dominican identity have been part of the same story of the city from the very beginning. Harlem is the capital of Black American culture, and Washington Heights is Little Dominican Republic. And between those two pillars, we eat together, we pray together, we raise our children together, we sit on the same stoops, and we share the same struggles. And we share the same common enemy, power that is kept time and again out of our hands. Howard Thurman spent his life studying what makes people whole, and he warned that a community that only grows where the walls between us he warned us that a community only grows where the walls between us keep coming down, opening room for the family we haven't yet met. That is this district. Harlem and Washington Heights are not two communities who happen to share a zip code. We are each other's unmet family. And anyone trying to wall us from one another is working against everything that makes this place sacred. We are not enemies, and we have never been enemies. But there are people who need us to believe that we are, who pour division into our homes like poison, who use our identities, the identities we are all so proud of, forged through centuries of survival, as weapons against us. And I'm calling that out today. Because I refuse to be silent while it happens. Because this has kept our communities from the power we deserve for far too long. I didn't have to be born here to belong to this fight. Because this community chose me, and I am choosing it back. I don't want power over you. I never have. I want power with you. Power that lifts every family in Harlem, in Washington Heights, in Kingsbridge. Power that keeps ICE out of our churches. Power that makes rent something you can actually afford. Power that has been kept out of our hands for far too long. Change is coming. Power is being returned to the people, and it is long, long overdue. God bless you all. Thank you for having me.
All right, give her a hand. I met a young man many years ago. We supported him for borough president. We didn't make it, but he's been with us in many struggles. He is endorsed for re-election Hakeem Jeffries and Congressman Greg Meeks. May we hear now from the congressman from this district. Give a hand as he comes. Congressman Adriano Espaillat.
Good morning, church. Good morning, church. Thank you, Reverend Sharpton. This is truly a privilege. I was here not too long ago on Reverend Byrd as we welcome a group of folks that were marching the same route that Harriet Tubman marched in the Underground Railroad. What a privilege to be at this historic church. See, we don't need our stories to be reinvented. We don't need our history to be reviewed and changed. Our history is determined and written by our own ink. Because you see, once I knew of this preacher who came uptown to Washington Heights when Kiko Garcia was shot and killed. He was there with the Dominican community. Although he didn't speak Spanish, you know, he went up to Washington Heights to be with that community because they knew it was hurting. And that person is right here with me today. That's Reverend Al Sharpton. And you see, when Amadou Diallo was shot 41 times, I knew of this man who worked and crossed the Brooklyn Bridge, and I was there with him in the front line with Dennis Rivera and with him and other great leaders of the city, because Amadou Diallo was shot 41 times in the Bronx, and that person was the Reverend Al Sharpton. And you know, when Eric Garner was killed in Staten Island and he said he couldn't breathe, I went across that bridge and went to Staten Island right there as I see his mom. And I stood next to that preacher who was leading that fight. And his name is Al Sharpton. And yes, Corey Weiss, who's here from the Exonerated Five, who has found his home in Nan. He comes here because there's a leader in the city that wants to have everybody under the same tent, and that leader's name is Al Sharpton. And yes, we need to be careful of fair weather friends that come around and say that the rent is too high, but they're the ones that are driving up the rent. They're the gentrifiers. We need to be careful because we went through the crack epidemic together. We're going through the opioid epidemic together. And we have a historic coalition, Reverend, a Black, Brown, and Labor coalition that was first put together by David Dinkins. That is the Al Sharpton coalition. That is the coalition of Harlem and Washington Heights and the Bronx. And we're going to work together to ensure that that coalition stays strong and that coalition becomes and will continue to be the coalition of the future of this city. It must be in the deep roots of our neighborhoods that the strength and the change must come. It cannot be parachuting in the middle of the night by fair weather friends. We will work together. And I'm happy to have Assemblyman Jordan Wright. You know, for far too long, we should have been working closer together. And I knew this young guy, you know, I knew this young person, Reverend Sharpton, who when he was in college, asked to be an intern and sit next to his grandfather, the great and late Judge Bruce Wright, as an intern. I knew that young guy, when he was elected to office some years ago, said, I don't want anybody but Judge Bruce Wright to swear me in because of what he stood for. In fact, I knew that young guy so well, better than anybody else here in this church, because Reverend Sharpton, that young guy was me. And so now I ask you to support me, to build and support the Black and Brown Coalition, the Labor Coalition, the David Dinkins Coalition, the Al Sharpton Coalition. That's the coalition that's going to drive this city forward. And we stand here together one more time. Let no one divide us. Don't be discouraged. Don't be deterred. Don't dismay. We are a strong coalition of New Yorkers. We know our past, and that makes us stronger because we now know our future. And our future is to hold hands together and say, we shall overcome. God bless you and keep the faith.
I don't know what the congressman is talking about. Como está usted? I know some Spanish. I think Jordan Wright is here. We're going to hear from him in a moment. I got to get.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but it sounded like Daria Lisa got a better round of applause. Not trying to be biased, but it sounds like Daria Lisa got a better round of applause from the National Action Network community. Adriano Espaillat has been running his candidates they've been running negative ads against Daria Lisa, that she's Haitian, that she's dark, that she's this and that. And I don't think that's flying too well with the community. I don't think they're too crazy about the things that he's saying or how he's carrying himself as a congressperson trying to keep his position. So this is a place where Zohran won by 13 points. It was tight with Cuomo, but in the end of the day, Zohran pulled it off. And I believe that Daria Lisa will pull it off if she fights hard and keeps fighting hard. She gave an excellent speech. The speech she gave was excellent, right? The speech she gave was excellent in my book, right? Let's just look at one more candidate. Maybe tomorrow I'll do all the other candidates in the slate, right? Let's look at one more candidate. Let's look at Claire Valdez. We looked at David Orkin. Let's see Claire Valdez, what she got to say. Let's see her introductory launch video for her campaign, and then we'll move on from there, right? Well, I think that Lisa gave a good speech. I enjoyed the speech. I think that was one of her best speeches. Really, it was really good speech. It was one of her best speeches that I've seen Daria Lisa give. Right? It was. She's getting better and better as her confidence grows, and that's a good thing, right? So let's see. Claire Valdez. Right? Introductory video. Oh, I should share it first, right? I should share it first before I'm introducing it without sharing it. What's going on with me? Okay, here you go.
Money.
Todo lo que es herramientas, maletas, todo lo que hacemos.
My rent went up $500 a month overnight.
I've talked about it myself.
My name is Phil. I'm a truck driver for UPS.
Mi nombre es Pedro.
My name is Helen. I work in reproductive rights.
It's been hard to save money.
Todo lo que es herramientas, maletas, todo lo que hacemos.
My rent went up $500 a month overnight.
I've talked about it myself, about whether you could have kids at all, purely in terms of how much money it would cost.
Workers deserve it all. Not scraps, not promises, not someday, but now. The housing crisis, the healthcare crisis, the crisis of workers' rights. It isn't a personal failure by any individual. It's the success of a system designed to extract from working people while protecting the wealth and power of the billionaire class. It's the system that blankets the country in AI data centers instead of creating good-paying jobs. A system that ushered in union-busting Reaganism to pave the way for Donald Trump's fascism. A system that's collapsed democracy to usher in oligarchy. I'm Assemblymember Claire Valdez, and I'm running for Congress. Because deserving it all means fighting for it all. Housing for all, because in the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country, one job should be more than enough to make rent. Medicare for all, because insurance and big pharma cartels should not control our economy. Unions for all, because as a union organizer, I believe you should be defined for the life you're meant to live, not the rights you're being stripped of. We will usher in a golden age of organized labor to battle back the new Gilded Age that is upon us. Our solidarity doesn't stop at the shop floor or border. It means standing with Puerto Rico against colonial exploitation. It means opposing apartheid and genocide in Palestine. It means rejecting violent regime change in Venezuela while elites mine for oil. This year, Democrats across the country will take on MAGA fascists to win back the majority. But it is this district that will decide what that majority fights for. Everywhere, it's the same fight. Workers against a rigged system, protecting the wealth and power of the billionaire class. Those being pushed to the margins versus a belief that no one should be left behind. This campaign is about building power together. No worker, no organizer, no mayor can do it all alone. This campaign is a child of a movement. We will fight and campaign and grow and govern together. When workers organize, we don't just ask for justice. We demand it, and we win it. I'm Assemblymember Claire Valdez, a union organizer and democratic socialist running for Congress.
Great. Her ad is positive, motivational, and everyone has to get out and vote wherever you are. If you haven't heard of these candidates, get out and vote. Get out and vote. Very important in New York. I never do deep dives into the politics because New York is a place of diversity. We have so many people from so many neighborhoods, right? So many people from so many neighborhoods. And so we have a lot of diversity, which is beautiful and very appreciated, right? So don't be discouraged, be encouraged to go out and vote. And also hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the love button, like Christine Cover did, running for district representative in the Bronx. Support all our candidates and support AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Support all the candidates running. There's another race in Queens that I've been like weighing who I should vote for. It's in my own area. I know I'm voting for AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but who should I vote for? Jessica Gonzalez Rojas or Jessica Ramos? Two Jessicas competing for a seat in the state Senate, right? It's a tough one. But the thing is that they just flooded $700,000 into the race. Mailers, they've gotten very aggressive, having canvassers and door knockers, very aggressive campaign, negative campaign. And, a lot of people say they don't forgive Jessica Ramos for endorsing Cuomo and following Cuomo. Jessica Gonzalez Rojas is endorsed by AOC, but in this race, all the dark money and real estate money and casino money being poured into one candidate turns me off against that candidate. And so now I will have to support Jessica Gonzalez, not Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. I cannot support her. I will have to support Jessica Ramos in this race because of those reasons that I stated. So thank you. The fireworks, people are going to hear me. They're going to send me messages about this. But it's just whoever does the work and whoever's willing to listen to the community and fight for the community and not take that dark money that destroys even the best politician. That's where politicians go wrong. Once they start taking that easy money, right? That easy casino money or easy lobbyist money or easy special interest money, they stop working for the people because now it's a lot easier for them just to keep running for re-election, knowing they already have it in the bag. Don't ever take your voters for granted. Don't ever take a voter for granted. Don't take your politics for granted. Don't take the people in your neighborhood for granted. That's just a lesson that I want every single person to learn wherever you are. Don't ever take anyone for granted, even in your own life. Thank you for your support. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the follow button, and, hit rewind, watch it again, watch it again, watch it again. And I appreciate every single one of you watching, especially on X. I always have more people watching on X. But have a good night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Hit rewind, watch it again and again and again. Thank you. My name is Celso Garcia, and I'm signing out. All right? Signing out. Have a good night, everyone.